I'm on the flight deck of the USS Midway, and behind me is an aircraft that needs no introduction at all, the F-14 Tomcat. I've got a great story for you today, one that involves an aircraft carrier, the USS Enterprise, and an F-14 Tomcat painted up just like the one behind me from the Aardvarks of Fighter Squadron 114, and two spirited lieutenants who dared to take it vertical. And there's that unscheduled stop by the Air Wing Commander's office on the way off the flight deck. Join me today as I sit down with a good friend of mine and former squadron mate, Commander Dave Sledge Richter, as we do a deep dive into the flyby. And we might even touch on that flight that got him in just a little bit of hot water. After that, I'm going to do the best I can to translate this story onto canvas in an oil painting. I'm Kurt Frankenberger. Welcome to Brush with Flight. Well, that was fun. I love a good field trip. And it was really nice that the USS Midway had an F-14 painted up in Aardvark colors for me. That conveniently leads me right into my story today. Part one is my interview with Sledge. I put together some of the internet's finest flyby videos and loosely categorized them. Along the way, we'll provide our color commentary, radio room banter, and expert analysis. We'll finish up with Sledge's awesome flyby story, and you won't want to miss that. In part two, I'll push the limits of my artistic skill set as I roll into the production of this oil painting. This segment includes the high-speed time-lapse. In part three, I'll take a minute to wrap things up, and you might just agree that this story comes surprisingly full circle. And where did I get this TF-30 fan blade? I'd like to welcome today a good friend of mine, Dave Sledge Richter. Dave and I are old squadron mates. We both had nugget cruises together in our first tour with VF-114, the Fighting Aardvarks. Dave retired as a commander, and now he's fully retired, just living the life. I brought him on today so he can validate some of my thoughts on flybys. So we're going to take a look at some flybys and see what we like, what we don't like, and so forth. You done a couple flybys there, Sledge?
Every opportunity I was ever given take the opportunity to do a flyby. Yes.
I hear you. I was fairly liberal in my application of flybys as well. I enjoyed it, no doubt about that. So it kind of begs the question, why in the world do we do flybys? What do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, for me, I think the troops get the most out of it. I mean, these guys are out there. In fact, we just saw the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and talk about the yellow shirts and how the orchestrated chaos they conduct on the flight deck, and it's just a little respite from their normal day-to-day humdrum stuff, and they get to see some of the fruits of their labor come by and put a little show on for them. That was my main motivation. Plus, it was fun to get low and fast.
Exactly. So there's two of the primary reasons that I was thinking too. One is troop morale. They don't ever get to see what we do with our airplanes, man. They launch them off point in, they bring them on the back, and rarely do they see what the heck we're doing out there. So at least we get a chance to go smoking by the ship and see.
Yeah, a close second the close second is the Sierra Hotel break.
Exactly. And once again, I mentioned Sierra Hotel and asked my watchers to go ask a naval aviator what that means.
Yeah.
So that's a couple of the main reasons. Okay, there's one or two other things. Distinguished visitors, right? You get some of those guys, some of the admiral's buddies standing up on the catwalk up there, and they're like, "Hey, bring them by." Okay, we'll do a flyby for those guys. And then like air power demonstrations. Tiger days, tiger cruises, those kind of things. You always get some flybys there. And those flybys are just a little better than your regular everyday flyby.
Yeah, they're fully sanctioned flybys.
Exactly, exactly. Anyway, right up at the top of the list for me was fun, and I guess waving the flag for your squadron was probably number two, right?
Sure. Yeah.
From the left, Aardvark.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then as flybys go, some are great and some aren't so great. So, characteristics, what kind of things you think make a good flyby?
Well, obviously, you got to be hauling the chili. You got to be going fast. You got to
Speed.
be low. Yeah, speed is life, right? You got to be low, but that's the tenuous wire you gotta walk across there, the tightrope, because if you go too low, then certain hackles get raised by certain people, and yeah, I just always made sure that at least from the tower, the boss wasn't looking down at me.
Yeah,
I think that was kind of like the back in the old days when guys didn't have this explosive bolts holding their wings on their chest. They'd go down to the flight deck level. We've seen that picture
yeah.
of the guy going right by the LSO platform. But I always just kind of made sure that the boss is right at when I went by the boat, I was
That's right.
looking right at the boss.
200 feet, right? It's got to be 200 feet.
At least the boat's 60 feet at the deck, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So speed,
Speed, altitude.
primary, being a little low is secondary, and then I think vapes. If you can come in and
Nice.
yeah, I always used to come in from the starboard side of the wake, so I could kind of be wrapping it up when I hit the stern. Come by and just right at the stern of the boat, just wrap it up and start getting some good vapes there.
A little Arctic gas.
In plan
Let's do a couple of those today. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
All right, man. I like it. It's speed, altitude, and vapes.
yeah.
Anything else?
Well, burner, and then if the
Noise.
overhead stack is noise. If the overhead stack is clear, I always we'd ask if the overhead was clear, and if it was, we'd ask for an unrestricted climb, and that was one thing I think the troops liked on as like the icing on top is if after coming by and making a lot of noise and hauling the chili, and then just roll wings level and pull the nose up and just disappear and into the straight overhead turn into it literally into a dot.
Right. All right. Excellent. Only, let's see, one item left I had was kind of uniqueness, which is kind of rare to do for your everyday flyby. You're not going to get a lot of unique, but we see some of the other flybys for the Tiger cruises and things like that. There's some uniqueness involved, but anyway, we'll touch on that in a little bit. But I think we hit the main things there: speed, altitude, vapes. Vapes may not be in control of a lot of times. Yeah, you can put some G on the plane and get them, but sometimes that transonic range, you're getting those vapes popping in and out. Those are awesome.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a look for some of those things as we take a look at some video here. All right, so here we go. This is going to be category number 1, and I've called that the standard pass.
All right.
What makes a standard? These are the kind of passes you see daily out there. In between cycles, you catch all the birds, you launch all the birds. In between the cycles, there's some dead time. If you got some extra gas, getting back a little early, it's always great to call up and ask for a flyby. So these are the kind of passes we're going to see during the day, just a normal day out there. All right, I'll pause it right there. So basically, that's pretty close to what you described in the intro there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, this is kind of your standard arcing pass, coming from the back corner, arcing around the ship. If there's any opportunity for vapes, they'll be popping right now. It'd be real nice. All right, that was something. What I liked is I'm kind of looking at where this guy's camera is. He's standing there right in the crotch.
Yeah.
The landing area out to the right, BCAT 2 out to the left. And the angle that this guy's coming in, it reminds me of an event. Maybe you remember this. at some point in the cruise, we all get throttled back. They're all like, "Hey, man, you guys need to back off on the flybys, blah, blah, blah," right?
Yeah.
So anyway, I remember what happened. I'm on the flight deck, walking around, fob walk down or something, and the plane comes looking just about like this. It just goes smoking by across the bow. And it was like right after we got this throttle it back brief, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I think I was the reason for that.
Now, when we figured this one out, this one was actually Lieutenant Commander at the time, Nasty Manazer, and the OPSO, CAG Ops. So apparently both of those guys missed the memo, right?
Yeah.
So they go smoking by just about like this. I remember it's just right over the bow, and it's like, whoa, that was awesome. And literally right after we got the throttle it back brief. So
Yeah.
anyway, probably didn't hurt Nasty any as he obviously moved on to Rear Admiral Manazer. So no problems with that pass.
Yeah, it's always good. It's always good to see good things happen to good people. I always like Nasty.
Yeah, he was pretty wily. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I got one more look at this one, and just so you can imagine it going right over the bow. I got one more in this category to show. All right, here comes the next pass here. I kind of like this one a lot. Let's blow this one out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Looks like a little transonic vape there, and then he starts pulling on it a little bit to make it better, and he's definitely hauling butt.
Yeah, that one's got a lot of things going for it, right? This must be a mid-cruise flyby right there. Yeah. He's definitely got speed going. He's got low altitude. He's pretty low. Yeah. Nice vapes happening. This is pretty good looking pass for me. I like it a lot. All right, let's roll it one more time. Nice. Oh yeah, that's fantastic. Good job, Hornet guy. So anyway, so that's standard pass. All right, here's category number 2, supersonic. Supersonic passes, there aren't any at air shows because they break all the windows. So anyway, the fastest flybys you ever see at an air show are subsonic. But out of the ship, we don't have that limitation. So on occasion, they allow some supersonic flybys, and typically during the air-powered demos, things like that. Kind of when you get a supersonic pass and you evaluate that because it's basically quiet, then it goes to boom and loud noise, right? So it's quiet, boom, noise, and you know you got a supersonic pass right there. Yep. Did you do any supersonic passes? Did you get an opportunity for that?
I never did. No, I was part of the air-powered demo group that did the demo. I did the sneak attack immediately after. And what we did in Japan was we usually picked a guy who was kind of it was a good deal. So we gave it to a junior guy, a guy who, hasn't shot a Phoenix yet and all that stuff. So it's like, hey, you're going to do the supersonic flyby. Kind of toss that off to a guy who's a new guy. Give him an opportunity to.
Well, that must be how I got it.
Yeah.
I was on JR's wing.
Yeah.
And JR and I were open up the air power demo with a pass from starboard to port. So behind the tower and behind where everybody is standing, we would start from back there and dive it down and go forward and aft on the ship and pass right there supersonic. So it's sort of a double sneak attack, I guess, right? But he wanted us to do this and then pull it up and cross like this and then cross again like that over the top, and out we'd go. Well, you can imagine how we practice that, like never.
Yeah.
They're like, okay. Figure up in the first
just make it up
during the practice. What's that?
We'll just make it up as we go.
That's kind of how I felt, But I'm game, I'm going to do it, right? So we go up and we do the first one like this and then like this. And now I'm like upside down and pushing away. And I'm like, ooh, that was very uncomfortable, man. So we got back and reconfigured it for the next time where we came in and only did one cross and then up and out. I
Yeah.
was like, supersonic, over the top, Immelman crossing. What could go wrong?
Right.
Anyway, so we simplified that game after that.
Right.
All right. So the supersonic passes. Let's take a look at a couple of these and see what we think. Here we go. Supersonic, what do you think?
Yeah, that's a Hornet going supersonic. It's just a
Yeah, it had it, man. It was the quiet, the boom, and the noise. So it was definitely there, I'd say.
Yep.
So decent effort, made it happen. Let's move on to the next one.
There it is, folks. The F-35 supersonic pass. Supersonic pass.
All right, what boss says is a supersonic pass, but man, that's the quietest damn boom I've ever heard.
I mean, the Tomcat, big old airplane, probably not as aerodynamically efficient as a Hornet. So I mean, it just made a thunderous bang.
Yeah. Well, that one was that was a 35.
Yeah. Okay. Even better. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
even less noise, probably. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, I'll follow your logic there. We got the Beast F-14, make a big loud boom, and then the F-18 was a little quieter, and that was just a little pop, man.
Yeah.
They gotta do better than that. I'm gonna roll out one more time. Super quiet F-35 pop flyby. It's such a tiny little pop. All right, let's move on, man. We'll get something more exciting going than that F-35. Here we go. Nice. What do you think about that one?
Yeah. That's a nice one.
It's a good looking pass. Yeah, I got it slowed down a little here. Got some good qualities going on there.
Got the dip in the water down below them too. Or the
Surface effect. Let me see if I can bring my pointer up here.
The air is pushing down the water. Yeah.
That surface effect from the shock wave. Nice. How about that right there?
Yeah. I mean, boss is barely looking down on him there.
Dropping flares.
Yep.
So he's got the surface effect, dropping flares, and it's a good vape going there, man. This is looking good. Here we go. I'll keep it running.
Yeah, that's impressive.
That's a great one. That's beautiful. Low, fast, nice. One more supersonic pass to go. This is probably one of my favorite passes of all time. I wish I had just a better quality of it, but it's fantastic. So here we go.
Yeah, okay.
You seen that? Nice. Oh, it's horrible quality, but we got the surface effect going on there. Low. All right. Hey, one of the points, and we've got speed, altitude, vapes, and he's dropping flares to add. But the last thing I'd say is crowd participation. Even on this one, you can hear the people on the flight deck before it even gets there. They're like, whoa, yeah. So
they know it's going to be a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, this one's coming, man. Right between two ships, man.
Yeah.
That one's fantastic.
A lot of people got a show that time. Yeah.
What's next? I got a category of flybys. Don't always
This
go
can't
so
be
well.
good.
What's that?
This doesn't look good at all.
I know this is shaping up kind of bad, right? But this first one is a flyby of a destroyer, the USS John Paul Jones. Do you have any familiarity with that one?
So this would be is this the Black Lions with the Waylon Jennings?
Yeah. I think it was, because I think it was off the Lincoln. So it probably would have been the Black Lions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that is this pass. And let's take a peek at it. So anyway, this category is flybys don't always go so well.
I gotta go.
You know anything about that
I'm
one?
pretty sure that's VF-213. The front seater was in the Bandits with me, Neil Jennings. He was a VF-1 guy and then went to the Bandits and then went as a Super JO to 213. And that was an oil breather pressure light. That's when that whole oil breather pressure thing started. Now I think that was the first time they attributed a lost aircraft to that issue.
Yeah. Well, that was clearly a catastrophic engine failure there.
Yeah, I think I remember Whalen saying he looked in the mirror and saw nothing but flame and the stick. You can just turn the stick and nothing was happening.
Yeah, I believe it.
Complete burn through. Yeah, complete burn through of all the flight controls and everything, and he just pulled the handle.
Yeah, so that was one clip there. Obviously, I'm not going to show it if things go badly. Both crew members survived this. I think you can hear right at the end of that clip where they say 2 parachutes, something like that. So as I understand it, everybody's survived that one and lived to fight another day. But that was pretty disastrous. I'd say that one didn't go so well. Okay, here's another one. I threw this in here as a kind of reminder for one thing. Now, when I got on board at the Aardvarks KAG 11, there was a story about maybe an A7 guy that went out cross country. Do you remember that?
I can't put a face to it now, but I remember. So he's on a cross country back to his hometown, somewhere up in New Jersey, and basically, coordinates with some of his buddies. He's going to do a flyby, and just came in low from off the coast, and then just flew right into the beach and popped up, and the wrong person saw it, and off to the races we go, and he ended up losing his wings.
Oh yeah, that's what I thought. I didn't know what the end result of that story was, but all I remember is the story was he did a flyby at the beach and umbrellas were flying in the air, something like that. And yeah, I knew he got FNAB'd, and I didn't know if he actually lost his wings or not. But yeah, it seems like there's more to the story in the Navy. Yeah, so the Navy's going to give you a lot of rope, and if you choose to hang yourself with it, then yeah, they're going to let you. And then that's, I suppose, what happened in this case. So anyway, not to the Blue Angel that we just saw, though. I'm sure he's just fine.
Yeah.
All right, as a setup, this is a year 2000 F-18 flyby of the Annapolis Memorial Stadium for the football game between TCU and Navy. How about that?
Personally, I don't see anything wrong with it, but I'm sure he got in a lot of trouble for being a little low.
It's all my parameters. Yeah, that was almost a fly through of the stadium, not a flyby.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what happened with him either, but wow, that was pretty something. You can do everything once, right?
Yeah, that's right. I don't know whatever happened to that gent. I hope he weathered that one okay.
I hope so. I'm gonna guess he got a little bit of attention from that one though.
Yeah.
So this one here, I kind of stuck it in here to prompt myself to come up with another story here. But as we can see, we do flybys of other ships out in the battle group all the time, right? Destroyers, cruisers, whatever, that kind of stuff. And so this is just us doing one of them. I think I'm actually flying maybe that FAR airplane, something like that. But we had a story back in our squadron. Do you kind of remember Gus's story?
Which one?
Nice. Well, he was out doing AIC and talked to the ship that he was working with, and they said, "Yeah, sure." Charlie Oscar says, "Bring it. Bring the supersonic flyby."
Yeah, I know this story. In fact, he told it to me. When we were before we started this, we were talking who I saw at Tailhook, and 2 years ago I saw Gus, and he repeated the story, and said that when he got back, he found out that he had overflown the wrong ship, supersonic, and the call was coming to Alpha, from Alpha Bravo over to the boat that, hey, some Tomcat just went supersonic by my ship, and Gus went straight to Rod Casey and said, hey, I think I overflew the wrong ship. I was supersonic, and and Two Dogs went and put water on the fire and got the fire out, and back and told Gus, he said, if you hadn't have come and told me, you'd have lost your damn wings on that one.
Wow.
So,
All right. Well, good
yeah.
on Gus for fessing up.
So always go to the head shed with the truth.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of remembered that maybe you got met on the flight deck by somebody. Did that not happen?
God, I don't remember that part of the story, but I'm
Yeah.
not saying that ain't true either. So
Yeah.
he was in some hot water there.
Yeah. Supersonic over the wrong ship. Well, we're just Navy guys. We're aviators. We don't know ships, man.
Mhm.
Cruiser, destroyer. Who knows?
Yeah, they all look the same to me. They're little tiny gray boats.
The great boat. I was sure I had the right one. Boom.
Exactly.
Oh boy. All right. Well, that fits my category. Sometimes it don't go quite right.
Right.
All right. And then this next category we got are flybys. And I just said unique on that one because occasionally you do have some that don't quite fit the mold and are unique. And I was managed to grab a couple of them. So we'll take a look at those. What do you think about that?
Pretty impressive. It's Gucci and the Hornet, their former Blue Angel.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't have a name on that one.
Yeah, that's Dunleavy. Admiral Dunleavy's son. Gucci Dunleavy, former Blue Angel, just passed away, unfortunately, about a year ago or so.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's an impressive flyby.
Yeah, it's very cool. Very cool. I got a ride with the Blue Angels, and I was with Dash 4 in the slot. So we were in that position a couple of times, and very uncomfortable, man. Well, obviously,
Yeah.
negative G right from the start, and very close. Obviously, they fly very close formation, and just so uncomfortable pushing away and in and out and up and down. I was like, oh Lord, this is uncomfortable. So yeah, I got a lot of appreciation for the game they're playing up there. It was impressive. Yeah.
Practice makes perfect.
Yeah, it does. But you got to be strapped in tight to make that inverted flying feel okay.
Yeah.
Here we have probably the most famous flyby pass that is recorded, I'd have to say. This is a Snort Snodgrass banana pass, which is interesting. Snort, this is the second time Snort comes up in my painting and video work. That's him right there.
Mm-hmm.
Fighting an F-14 against a MiG-21. So it's Snort Snodgrass and Rookie Rob were involved in events up north of Vegas here in Constant Peg. And as I read about that storyline. So
cool.
Anyway, so Snort makes another appearance in my videos. So here we go. Let's take a look at this one. Yeah, known as the banana pass. Pretty cool. Pretty cool looking. Yeah. Very unique. Gonna fit that.
Yeah, I like how he comes in low and then picks up the nose just before he gives you planform there.
Right.
He's actually kind of going up a little bit. Yeah.
Right. It's got to be like a bit of just an unloaded planform shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right by the LSO platform. Yeah, right there. There's some really good photographs of this moment too. I'm sure I'll find one and pop it in there once I get the video going. But yeah, very impressive. Very cool. All right, this is a category built for you, Sledge. This is taking it vertical. Before, let me add some context, though. I just want to throw this out there. And yeah, so I was a Nugget, you were a Nugget, but you're a little ahead of me, not too far. But what I knew about Sledge was he kind of brought his own salty dog swagger to the squadron. Even as a JO, Sledge had a bit of swagger that maybe others didn't quite have. While everyone else is dog eat dogging, stepping on other guys' backs to get to the top of the rung, Sledge didn't seem to have that going on. Very chill, very cool. So he was one of my JO heroes going up in that in VF 114. So anyway,
That's crazy talk, man. You were one of mine.
Yeah, well, maybe we need each other, something like that.
Solid hard working, man.
Yep, yep. Yep, fire squadron life can be a little challenging every now and then.
Yeah.
So let's see. I bring this up and I call it your event because indeed you did have an event here. So why don't you give me a walkthrough of what happened with yours?
Well, funny you mentioned Rookie Rob a moment ago because he figures into this story quite well.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so he was our DCAG. So I was flying. I'm a nugget with a second cruise Rio in my backseat. Tom Rick, another guy, may he rest in peace.
Aha.
And he said, "Hey, let's save some gas. We'll do a flyby near the end because we were just doing AIC or something. It was a real, had plenty of gas. And that was back in the good old days when you took off and you grabbed 1,500, 2,000 pounds of gas off of a tanker for the 145 cycle. So when you got up to altitude, you had a full bag of gas. I mean, it wasn't, you were at 20K again,
That was our first deployment.
Yeah.
Our second deployment, we didn't get any.
No.
We had Hornets, so we didn't get any gas the second deployment.
Yeah, I couldn't tank after that cruise. So we asked for a flyby, and the boss said, "Hey, no, yeah, the stern to bow, port side, blah blah blah, that whatever his spiel is."
Yeah.
And the Baja comes up and says, "Hey, boss, is the clear?" And he goes, "Yeah, the overhead's clear." And he goes, "We'd like to do a vertical, unrestricted climb." And boss says, "Fine." So I mean, we're getting from the head dude, everything's fine, right? Just come on by, do this, and then they call him the boss for a reason. So in fact, as we get on later on onto this, I know that the boss was not the one who got upset about this. That I don't know who did. I have my theories, but someone got upset about it. So Baja and I came by, and I did what we mentioned earlier. I kind of like to bias towards the starboard side of the boat and come by so that when I'm right at the fantail, I'm just pointing and pulling about 5 Gs, right? Just put 5 Gs right on there to align the fuselage with the BRC of the boat, and then just vape it up. And then for this one, I rolled wings level and just snapped its bullseye straight up and did aileron rolls. And I even paused between each roll, roll, pause, roll, pause. Roll,
right. You can't do more than 360 degrees roll.
That's right. It's in the NATOS. So off we go into the ether, and then come back down into low holding, and we trap. And Tom Bobo was the SDO, and we walk into the ready room, and he's got this look on his face like, "Dude, you guys are in a lot of trouble." And I'm like, "What? For what? I'm trying to think what we did. I mean, the whole rest of the mission prior to that was just admin. There wasn't anything close or anything like that. So I'm thinking it must have been, I'm coming to the conclusion that's the flyby. So JR, our XO, comes into the ready room, and he's kind of got that smirk on his face that he always had, and he goes, "Yeah, we got to go down and talk to CAG." And he goes, we're going down the P-way. And he actually turned back over his shoulder and says, "Don't worry, you guys haven't done anything I haven't done."
Right.
So I'm thinking, okay, maybe we're not. I mean, we are literally still in our flight gear. I mean, Baja and I think we might have taken our SV2s off, but we had the torso harness on and the G suit and all that stuff. And we'll go down to the CAG spaces, and CAG forward. We open the door with JR, and JR goes, "Hey, CAG, here's here's the guilty party, and Cag Ford had this really ugly scowl on his face. He was not happy. Well, then Rookie Rob opens the door to his office, and he goes, and I'll do my DCAG impersonation. I did it 1,000 times in skits and stuff, but he's like, Cag, let me handle this one here. I'll take it. So we go in there, and I'm first of all, I'm relieved that he's handling it because I liked Rookie. He was a great man, and he basically said, some people on this boat don't appreciate the performance of your airplane, or maybe the way he put it was maybe there's a little jealousy going on here, and it just kind of like like we were talking about the memo, kind of toned down the flyby a little bit,
Right.
like no more unrestricted climb, no more aileron rolls, that kind of stuff, and that was it. And so the walk down from camp spaces back down to the ready room, I kind of got a little skip in my giddy up. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm not going to hit my wings. I'm out of trouble. Yeah, I'm out of trouble. Well, that's until Two Dogs, who was not involved in the last 15, 20 minutes of the punishment phase of my act. Two Dogs comes into the ready room, and he's smoking hot, like kicking the ready room chair, and yelling at us, and JR is trying to explain to him that, hey, this is
It's all smooth over. Everything's cool.
Yeah, this is over. And so Two Dogs ends up deciding that Baja and I are going to stand SDO port and starboard for a week as punishment. So we could essentially get grounded. So now I'm back down into the, am I going to read about this? I've never seen Two Dogs that mad.
Wow. Yeah.
He was pretty mad. And I'm still sitting there in half my gear in the ready room there, and I can't, Two Dogs storms out of the ready room, slams the door, and we're back in trouble again. And I'm just sitting there going, thinking to myself, what the hell's going on here, And I'm in the back of the ready room. There was a couple of chairs facing backwards back there, I think, if I recall correctly. That's how my memory.
These deuce chairs.
Yeah. And I'm sitting there just kind of bewildered that I'm in trouble again. And just, I don't know if you remember, do you remember that yellow shirt on the Enterprise? He looked like he was a first class petty officer, looked like he was 45 or 50 years old, white hair, white mustache. And he walked into the ready room in the back door and goes over to Bobo and goes, hey, do you know who the crew was on whatever airplane I was in? I can't remember. And Bobo just kind of looks at us and points him over there, and he walks over to Baja, and he goes, "Sir, were you guys the crew that did the flyby before that last recovery?" And I looked at him, and I go, I'm thinking to myself, Christ, I'm in trouble with somebody on the deck now. You know what I mean? They're sending me down to, sending me a runner to get me up there to the flight deck and have my ass chewed up there, right?
Right.
And I go, yeah, that was me. And he goes, sir, I've been working a flight deck for 28 years, and that was the best flyby I've ever seen in my life. And I was, I went from dauber down to just like.
And you're like,
what?
Validated. Completely validated.
From this first class petty officer who was just the salt of the earth, one of these kids that's been working the flight deck forever, Not kid, he was older than I was at the time, right?
Yeah.
I say kid, but yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, man. That's that Sledge swagger I'm talking about.
Yeah. So I got away with it.
It's worth a couple hard days of the duty, but you're grinning and laughing during that. You're like, I got away with it, man.
Yeah, I might have
Validated.
got the LTOD a couple times when I had the SDO that week.
Couldn't sell it, huh?
He couldn't sell it.
All right, man. That's awesome, man. That's one of those stories, you're hero or goat, man, hero or goat. And it's still somewhere in between. But for many people, that was heroic. And for just a few, not so great. But,
right.
we don't pay attention to those guys.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's about how I remember it.
Yep. It took a while to get back on the horse. I think I did another flyby about a month later.
Yeah. 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 Anyway, that's pretty funny though. You walked out of CAG's office thinking that got smoothed over nicely.
Yeah. By Rookie Rob.
Rookie Rob. Awesome, man.
He was a good dude. I really like that guy.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I tell a story in my other video about Rookie Rob. I was going to do a MiG-21 brief, and Aldo tells me, hey, I think TCAG flew MiG-21s. I'm like, what? Hey, that's cool, man. So I hit him up on the FOD walk down. I walk over there and say, hey, TCAG, hey, I'm working on a MiG-21 brief, blah, 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 and I heard you flew MiG-21s. And he's like, well, who told you that? I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
So I got read in on a top secret black program, and just like that.
Yeah, cool.
But anyway, okay, so here we are. Taking a vertical, and I got a couple clips here, and we can take a look if this is kind of what it looks like. Here we go.
All right.
All right. How's that
Guy
one
needs to
compare?
do an aileron roll.
He sure does, man. He sure does. He's a little high. He is getting the vertical going. We'll give him that. But yeah, we could probably step that up a little bit. This is one of my other alma maters. I put this one in here because of this vertical move right here. This is awesome, this view right here.
Yeah.
So as I look at this, I'm like, all right, when I do this painting, I need to kind of figure out how I'm going to compose it. So, but I see this and I'm like, that's fantastic, man. That guy's just going to the moon. It's awesome.
It's like that Bugs Bunny cartoon where he's on that rocket that gets shot to Mars, and then you just see the Earth just going away.
Yes. Yes, that's the feeling, right? So I got to somehow, when I compose this painting, get some of that feeling in there. So that's
Yeah.
really why I put this piece in there. You guys got fantastic vapes going on. Oof, he's gone. Tomcat with the pull up from the inside. Nice vape cloud. And he rolls it over. So once again, as I'm trying to compose this art, I'm like, this is a nice view too. So
Yeah.
I like the inverted. I could probably put some vapes into that over the wings. So anyway, yet another spot for composition. This is my closer here.
Man, those are fun. It really kindles a lot of fond memories of being a young man and being able to do that stuff. Yeah. Yeah. I guess you don't really appreciate it until you turn into an old man like me.
Yep, that's for sure. I hear you. That's going to wrap it up with our flybys here. I really appreciate Sledge coming on today to talk about his flyby. That's about how I remembered it, and I was looking forward to doing this interview and putting together this painting that I'm going to put together. So I'm pretty excited to now be able to get started on that, composing that, and getting it onto canvas. And really appreciate you coming on, Sledge. Great talking with you.
Hey, man, great talking to you too, Webster. As always, good to see you.
You betcha. All right, hey, we'll chat later.
Okay, see ya.
See you. As I put this composition together, I settled in on this inverted, coming over the top, finishing the maneuver position there. And of course, I had to add some vapes in there. So I'm trying to sell this kind of telescoping to the moon kind of concept that we talked about, with Bugs Bunny on the rocket ship getting launched out to the moon. So that's the feel I'm trying to get with the painting here today. Hopefully that worked out. let's take a look and see. Here's the time lapse. I started with little model work, and then I transferred over with graphite transfer paper over to the canvas. This blue got away from me just a little bit, covered my airplane right up. The idea for the swirl came from a photo that I took one day when I was out flying. It ended up working pretty well. It kept me from having to do a whole lot of waves out there in the water. Locking in the Tomcat, and it's coming along nicely. I've got the maneuvering devices coming down here. They come down automatically via angle of attack, or if they're not out and you want them out, you can utilize the thumb wheel on the stick and roll them on down yourself. It'll extend the slats and the flaps just a little bit for you for some extra lift. I've got the cockpit blocked in. It always takes a couple layers. And then I was real excited about getting some orange finally on the airplane. But ooh, those clouds in the background, they are regretful. They're going to disappear. Sledge said he would always pop out the glove vanes for his flybys. To pop them out, you just drop the wing sweep switch into the bomb position. The wings will drive to 55 and out come the glove vanes. Then you can sweep them back manually the rest of the way to 68 degrees. At this point in the maneuver, the airplane's starting to slow down, coming over the top, and then wings it back out to about 55 degrees now. With the sun up and to the left, there's not a lot of great opportunity for some hard cast shadows. Most of the aircraft is in the form shadow. I did have an opportunity up by that left intake to create a fairly hard shadow line there. And I frequently rely on those shadows to define form and shape. And reflections are the other side of that equation. On that lower left horizontal stabilizer, there's a good bit of reflected light coming off the bottom of that wing. And I'm finally going to add some respectable clouds back to the horizon there. And these are inspired also by a photograph that I took. Clouds and water, they are tough. I like the way these ones are turning out. They are a vast improvement. There is some lore about the Aardvarks back in the day not being able to get standard flight suits for their deployments, so they went ahead and deployed in their orange bags. Well, good or bad traditions don't die easy. So the Aardvark's been wearing orange bags ever since then. We passed them down from one pilot to the next when a new pilot came on board. They were not in great condition, and they were frequently not the right size. Eventually we did get some brand new ones, but then a year later, they shut the squadron down. Now that's a good looking flight suit. I played a little fast and loose with the wingtip vortices, but I guess that's what we call artistic license. I wanted to try and sell that geometric perspective and run that all the way down to that small ship down there, just to try and sell that scene like we talked about earlier with that to the moon kind of concept. I gave it a healthy loadout, 2 and gun, 2 winders, 2 Sparrows, 2 Phoenix, and the M61 Vulcan cannon. We were strictly air-to-air in those days back in 1989. The Bombcat days, they were yet to come. So the primary reason that I have the aircraft set at this aspect, this angle of the nose, is so that I have enough room on the horizontal tail so I get that Aardvark painted on it. So here it comes. Done so much hard work in this aircraft that I'm a little frightened now. I'm about ready to put on some vapes. How much? How bright? No wrong answer here. Only time will tell. I got Baja back there checking out the vape show. I'm sure he's telling Sledge things are looking nice. Sledge is pulling his nose back down to the horizon. He's gonna finish this maneuver out. Just finishing out the details now. It was pointed out to me that adding some atmospheric reflections grounds the painting to the scene. So I have these blue reflections on the canopy and lightly on the side of the nose. I would have liked to add some more of those reflections, but just wasn't quite sure where to put them.
Vark 100, you're cleared for a flyby. Port side, subsonic, no lower than 200 feet.
I witnessed the demise of the aircraft depicted in this painting. I had a front row seat as the wingman on an air combat training sortie the day that Vark 100 crashed in the desert east of Yuma. Thankfully, both air crew ejected safely. The recovery team brought back the remnants of Bureau number 161298 back to NAS Miramar, and they picked up a small souvenir from the heap. And herein lies our full circle moment. This slightly mangled compressor blade that I showed you earlier is from the aircraft that Sledge and Baja performed their legendary flyby in. The very aircraft that would go on to crash in the tax range east of Yuma. But that's a story for another time.
That was a fantastic interview with Sledge, and I really enjoyed this project. I feel like I turned out well, and I was able to accomplish my artistic objectives. I hope that Sledge and I were able to give you just a bit more insight into the life of a fighter pilot. I'm Kurt Frankenberger. Thanks for watching Brush with Flight.
And as always, products are available at the Brush with Flight Etsy store, and prints of all sizes and framing desires are available at Fine Art America. Links are listed on my main YouTube page.